Or yeah. Live. Good morning. I have my special mug here. Party
Oh,
time. Yeah, from
Ooh.
the same artist. Yay.
Nice. I have a bottle of water that I won't show the label for.
all right.
Ah,
It's not
perfect.
even
Perfect.
it's just a purified water that I've been reusing from the faucet.
You know, is
Uh,
that a bottle? By the way, I'm glad you brought that up. If it's a plastic bottle, do you mind putting it in something that's not creaky?
Oh, sure. Yeah, yeah. Or I just don't even have to use it
Yeah, I
if
don't
you
want you
want.
drinking water ever. You can have water, Megan.
It's
All
more
right,
there for a clutch. I can go get a mug. Do you want me to grab a mug?
you're fine. Too late. Now it's a thing, and I'm embarrassed. All right. Here we go.
oh boy, it's a lot of sensitivity. All right, here we go.
Welcome to Keith and the Girl. I'm Keith Malley.
I'm Chemda.
Of course, you all have Saturday, February 4th on your schedule, right? The Keith and the Girl Comedy Marathon, 24 hours, over 50 comedians. Live on our YouTube channel begins 3 p.m. February 4th. That's it. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the bell. Don't forget. Also, Keith and the Girl VIP members, you have 3 new episodes in your feed. I want to make sure you didn't miss them. Over 5 hours of us yapping with behind-the-scenes information, including Hemda revealing in real time who emailed her just the other day asking to take their episode down. Become a Keith and the Girl VIP member today at keithandthegirl.com/VIP. Sign up for free. In fact, give it a taste. We're very proud of it. Use code free trial, one word, free trial at keithandthegirl.com/VIP.
In fact, we will be introducing a new guest in just a moment. And that announcement was not just for you, dear listener. It was for her. No, we will not be taking this down, no matter what you say. Now, we'll introduce you in a moment, but just keep that in mind. And Ryan V is noticing, yay, we're back in the lab, and signed it as Perry. That's, I didn't know Ryan's name was Perry. That's weird.
That's a little
Yeah.
behind the scenes, right? It's crazy. Well, anyway, let's get right to it. Today's guest featured in Forbes, Gotham Comedy Live, Fox's Laughs, 2 tours with Armed Forces Entertainment. She shot 26 people. Meghan Hanley. Hello, Meghan.
Hello, how are you? Thank you
I
so
am
much for
well.
having me.
She
This
has
is
the
exciting.
new album is called This Funny. And
This happy.
this happy. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. Well, I just got it.
Yeah.
But I'm 3/4 of the way in, and it is fucking hilarious. You
Yeah,
should
you
be
could
very,
tell.
very proud.
You could tell Keith liked it because he renamed it. You decided this happy, but he decided this funny. He thought
Yeah.
you were
Funny.
just being cavemen together. It's actually high praise when you think
This
about
is this is true because you didn't add a question mark at the end. You weren't like
Right.
this funny, like
Yeah.
you were like this funny. Like the emphasis
Exactly.
was like, no, this is this funny.
Yeah, I wasn't, and I think you misheard. I wasn't saying the title. I was saying I heard your album, This Funny, and it's called
Okay.
This Happy.
Okay, so that was
Yeah.
that's a good save. That was a good.
Thank you. Are you pleased with how it came out? Are you pleased with any? I don't know if there's editing or whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, it was a long process, and I feel like this was my first album, so I just learned so
Right.
much about how this was all done, and I feel like ways that I would do my next album just for myself to make it simpler with editing, because we did do 2 different shows, and they weren't totally different, but the second show, I ended up doing a lot more jokes, and then even did jokes that I knew weren't going to make it for the album, but I thought, let's just get these recorded, like this is a good crowd
Sure.
kind of thing. And I'm glad I did the 2 shows because there were like 3 jokes that I just forgot to put in. And then there were a couple things I sort of screwed up on the first show that I didn't even realize I did till I was listening to it back. And like sometimes, like we get caught up in doing jokes. We do jokes so many times and then you're in
Right.
the moment, you're in the room, my family's there. And it was like a joke where I was kind of missing a key setup, but I think I was so in the moment on the first show, I just skipped over it. And then I heard it was like, oh my God, I hope I said this on the, on the
Sure.
second show.
Even normal people, we call them civilians. Even when they talk, someone says, "Do you know you just said this?" I'm like, "I just said that. That just came out of my mouth that way."
Yeah.
So yeah, of course, that's
There
gotta.
was Yeah, that happened when I was a singer. I would be on stage, and if we had too many shows in a week or in a day, maybe it's a second show in the day, now you're singing a song that you already sang, and all of a sudden in the middle of a
Right.
song, I'll be like, "Oh my God, are we going into the second verse or the third? Did I already
Sure.
do this?" And then you just have to go, I guess it's all the same story either way. They'll figure it out.
Yeah.
5, 6, 7, here we go.
Yeah,
a
yeah,
decision.
yeah.
Does that
No,
happen to you
absolutely.
sometimes? You're on stage and you're like, did I tell you about anxieties yet?
It's well, oh, actually, at the album recording, so and again, like the first show, I knew I pretty much got it, but I also knew there were a few jokes that I hadn't done that I knew I was doing. Then there were the two that, as I was sitting in the green room, went, "Oh my gosh, I got to make sure I get these." But there was definitely a different feel between the two shows, and we get to a certain point, we're almost done with the second show, and I had this moment, and I go, "Guys, I got to be honest with you, I'm not sure if I did this joke or not." Which actually, like the way the second crowd, because it wasn't a lot, it was about 30 people I knew, but everybody else was just a lot of random people, tourists from all over the world, people that didn't know they were an album recording. Some really drunk people got thrown out. Like there was like
Oh,
a
wow.
group of like young kids, and young kids, they're 21, but still that's young.
Right.
They were rowdy, but I didn't know someone got thrown out till after, but like they were like really drunk. And I go, I'm not sure if I did this joke. So I go, I'm going to start it. When I start it, let me know. And I go, should
Thumbs
I
up,
even do
thumbs
it?
down.
And then everybody's like, do it. And I go, oh no, I wasn't clear with the instructions. Let me know if I did do it.
Right.
Because like everybody was so supportive. I was like, no. Wait, did I do this joke? So then I the joke that I forgot was the album title, like the title track. And I forgot to do it. So I start doing it. I go, it's a joke about me smiling all the time. And they're like, no. And again, I go, no, don't do it. Or no, I did do it. They're like, no, you didn't do it.
See, this is why Keith always says if a comedian or any show, if they're getting put on, go to the last one. If you have 2 or 3 or 4
Last
choices,
show, right?
go to the last show, because at that point they got it in the bag. They're a little more loose, and the audience responds a little more loose. You're more likely to be in an audience of someone getting kicked out in the final show. So it keeps getting proven over and over again.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The first show, I feel like, especially because the first show is so many people want to come out and support. Like the environment was like incredible. Like my whole family was there. So the second show, is this sort of random group of people, which is great because it turns, as it goes on, it just becomes like, this is a headlining set in New York City, which you don't get to do a lot of, like in the city, do like a 50-minute set. And you kind of have to adjust and go, make sure I get the jokes I need, but also just like, this is a different show. Like this is a different animal.
No one in New York City lets you talk for 50 minutes
No.
straight. Not even your therapist. Your therapist would be like, we're 40 minutes in. Don't make me use the gong. We know what a therapy hour is, and we know what an hour of stand-up is. So let's get real.
It's so true. And it was like, and as I listened to it back, I was like, oh, this actually was, because there was so much pressure that was, I feel like, going on. Like with the first show, you want to make sure you get everything. And then we were all the comics were on such a high from the first show. We started the second show. We were like, oh, we're going to have to work. This isn't just so easy. But then listening to it back, in my head, I felt like I had to work so hard to get the crowd. But then when I actually listened to the recording, it was only like 6 minutes in, something happened. And I went, oh, I get what kind of crowd this is. And they were like a dirtier crowd. And my stuff isn't even that dirty, but like they wanted, and again, they were drunker. They were from all over the place. It was kind of just trying to figure them all out. But when I did that and sort of like broke that like, that wall that's up of being like, I don't know they loved that. And then just as I started to do the joke, I said, okay, so everybody start applauding, start going crazy. And then so they did that. And then I was like, whew, that last joke was so funny. Which I was like, oh, this is the kind of crowd that likes that they're getting kind of like this insider,
were you shitting yourself when people had to get thrown out? Like, is this night?
I didn't know what happened. Thankfully,
I
didn't know. I knew they were pretty drunk people. It must have happened pretty quietly.
Okay.
Because I didn't know what happened. I think at that point that show was so loose. I think I kind of would have liked to know, but it might have caused more chaos in the room.
It'd be funny. You have the stand-up show, and then the bonus track is like, guys, I forgot to mention why it's called This Happy, and I have anxieties, and it's fake, and it's kind of, it really explains yourself. So of course I'm glad you got it in. You say people keep asking you, are you this happy all the time? And you're like, I'm not even this happy now, right?
That's the joke.
I'm uncomfortable. The more I'm uncomfortable, the more I smile. I mean, I'm terrible at funerals. Have you had anxiety your whole life? Is that what it is?
And of course, for a long time, I didn't know it was anxiety. I'm very like Irish Catholic family. We just like bury everything. We don't deal with it. It's just like anxiety. You deal with it. You go on with your day. And the more I've started to do work on myself, and you kind of realize that's what it is, and you're able kind of to navigate
Irish
with
Catholic,
that a little more.
Are you a big drinker or not at all drinker?
Oh yeah. And I switched over more now to a wine drinker. But I used to,
that's a drinker. When you have time to switch over to something.
Yeah. I switched over. Right.
Switched over. Okay.
I made some serious choices. I can't do shots and beers anymore, but give me a bottle of wine.
She mentions her and her family go to Ireland, and then Ireland is like, no, you guys are just drunks. Basically.
Because it's very much, I think there's that sort of, there are two different, there's the Irish in Ireland, and there's like the Irish American, and we are like so similar, I feel like, in so many ways, but it is two very different like Irish experiences. And it was always that thing in our mind, I think, is that sort of the Irish American thing. And just from being in America that you're told here, like, oh, the Irish like to drink. Irish like to drink. We tell ourselves that. We laugh about it. Oh, we get in drinks and fight like Notre Dame. It's the fighting Irish. Let's make that let's embrace the stereotype kind of thing. And then you go to Ireland, and it's like people do drink throughout the day there, but like they sip on a whiskey. Like people, it's a very different vibe where we're so like loud and like, how many drinks can we drink? And it's so like very American. And you go over there and you're like, oh, okay, we got to like tone it down. Like we went on a pub crawl over there, and
isn't every night a pub crawl?
It starts a pub walk.
Yeah. Right. We thought it was going to be, again, we're like pub crawl. And this was when I was in my early 20s. Like, I mean, really. So we signed up for this pub crawl, and we've done American pub crawls. Every bar is a different drink. You don't make it to the third bar because you do too many drinks at the second bar. Right. We go along and we're like, is there any drinking involved? It was like a music tour. And at the very end, you got a Guinness. And we were like, oh, where's the problem?
You're just impatiently waiting between songs.
Yeah. Like, we were like, what do we?
Does your anxiety go down when you drink or go up?
I think it goes down. I feel like for me, I'm one of those people that I can be pretty hard on myself sort of throughout the day. And then you kind of have a drink and you go, all right, sit, relax, have the drink. But it is a fine line between it, because you don't want that to be your go-to. You don't want to be drinking too much. And then I've also noticed, if I were to get too drunk and have a bad hangover, that's where I can get really anxious, because then I replay, oh, I shouldn't have had that drink, or, oh, I was embarrassing?
It's best to black out, right?
I'm someone, for better or worse, I'm like a puker. So it's like my body cuts me off. I used to have like gray outs, we used to call it, where, there's parts of the night and then you piece it together and then they come back to you and you go, oh my gosh.
Yeah, but I feel like if you were to black out, the anxiety would go down, because you're like, what did I do last night? I don't know. Let's start over. Yeah. And then people tell you, and by then it's funny because they're retelling and they're also drunk. So it's sort of a give and take. So now you're drinking wine. Is that now how many times a week?
Oh my gosh, this is like a doctor's appointment. This is getting serious. It depends. It really depends on the week.
I tell when I drink, I tell my doctor, I'm like, I don't know, maybe every other day. And he goes, okay, so every day. And he writes that
down. Right. Yeah. At the doctor's office, I usually go, about 4 glasses a week, and he's like, okay. They're like, all right. They know you're kind of lying, and it does. Like, there's those weeks where you go, oh, I had a lot going on. We went out, partied. Other weeks you go, oh, I had like 2 days this week. I had a drink. I'm a big fan of, especially in like the cold weather. I love, like, I say one large drink. It's really like a drink and a half, like a large glass of wine that you kind of can have at the end of the day when you're like getting some stuff done. I could do some writing, and you get like a nice enough buzz from it and go, all right, that was,
what? Nice. People who don't drink for volume don't say things like a large or small glass of wine. That's not a thing. There's actual ounces to every drink. When there's a recipe, and that recipe goes with not small or large. This is not Starbucks. So it's funny, like the lingo of people who drink.
Totally. Oh yeah, we make up all these like different excuses, things like I had one large glass of wine. Yeah, but it was about 2 glasses. Let's be.
My doctor would say, how much do you drink? And I'm like, a day? I don't know, maybe just vodka, 1 glass. And he's like, what? Huh? What? Just a glass of it. That's all.
I just got like my health insurance changed. When your health insurance changes, they initially just assign you a doctor, and then you kind of can go in and pick a doctor or whatever. So I get this card in the mail, and I look at it and I go, wait a minute, this address is very familiar. And I put it in, and I'm like, this doctor is like diagonal for my apartment. I go, oh, absolutely not. I am not running into this doctor like on the way home from the wine shop. I'm like, yes, he'll see that I work out a lot. I was being honest about the exercise, and,
Right.
and I eat pretty healthy, but it's gonna be like, but you are a little more social than you let on. I'm like, I don't need that in my neighborhood.
We're live. I see Curtis writing. It's back in the news today that apparently anything above 2 drinks a week is bad for you. Life is bad for you too. I mean, what am I going to tell
Life
you?
is tough.
Yeah.
It's oh, this is exciting. So you guys can see this, but I don't think I can see it, right? Like the pop-ups.
You can.
Yeah.
I'm
I can.
controlling it, and so sometimes we feature one of the comments that are flowing through.
Oh, cool. That's so
So
cool.
shout out to Curtis.
Imagine
yes.
all the ones
Shout
are
out.
negative. Okay.
I can imagine as a comedian. I can imagine.
You talk on your album about dating and during before and after the pandemic.
Yeah.
Do you get anxiety during a date? Do you catch yourself giggling like an idiot, but you don't really
Sure.
mean it?
Oh
Yeah?
yeah. I get nervous laughter. I have a hard time. I feel like now I'm really at a point where I really am trying to get excited. Like I'm ready to be like dating, but for me, dating can be tough because I have a hard time letting people get like really close to me. I think there's a lot of anxiety with that, like really opening myself up to someone, and
Vulnerability is tough. you say.
vulnerability is tough, yeah.
Mhm.
And it's hard for me to get there. I don't show it. I think on the outside it seems like everything's great and it's fine, but it's a lot for me to get there. And then so when things don't work out, like it just feels like I feel like it hits me harder. Not even so much of like, okay, me and this person didn't work out, but more like
Sounds like you're straight. You date men?
yes.
That's tough, right?
Yeah, it's hard. But I sort of have been, I wasn't even intentionally out of the game for a while. Like I tried to do a lot of dating in 2021. And then I feel like recently I went like, oh God, it's been like a year since I was like dating. And I'm like, okay, now that I know it sounds weird to say it, but I feel like now that if the album really took a lot of stress and time out of my life, which I'm happy that it did because it meant a lot to me. But I feel like now I'm at a place like this is done. I'm ready to sort of see the next things that are coming career wise, next things relationship wise. I feel like I now have like more time for it.
What would you say is the hardest thing about dating you? Because you seem lovely, and and we get that a lot from like, unfortunately, from straight couples. We get like, she's lovely, and she's very helpful, she's very thoughtful. And then you exhaust her. She seems like a bitch, sounds like a cunt, and she wants you out of her life. Like, is that you know what I mean? That's what it feels like, how nice people end up on dates.
I feel like a lot of it, I think, does have to do with stand-up, even though I don't like to think that's a thing. I think it's hard for people to. I think it's hard to date a comedian. Also, our schedule is a huge part of it. It's hard to. Other people, I think, have just other outlets that it's easier to just be out at a regular function and meeting someone. But when you're working nights, that's harder to do.
Is it just the time schedule, or do you find guys are like, I don't need my woman being a clown. I don't need her on Instagram. I don't need her on stage.
Said that to me, but that could be. It could be.
Maybe it's not. I'm just curious.
No, I think it's something that people are. They hear you do stand up. There's two factors to it.
Kind of like saying you're a therapist. It's like,
sure, I think
now
so.
you're paying. It feels like comedians pay attention to the conversation differently. It feels like therapists pay attention to the conversation differently. And you're both sets of people are dissecting and then using it for their profession. So it's like, I feel like that brings people up to their nerves.
Right. I think it's like almost finding someone that just is comfortable enough with themselves and the situation to go, okay, she does stand up. That's cool. Here's what I do. Like, how can this kind of work together? I feel like, and it's also a tough thing. I get it. Like sometimes, you meet somebody, talk to someone. A lot of people don't know a lot of comedians. So there are some dates that end up feeling like podcasts because I am introducing them to what a comic is. And that's not fun for me. Like I'm explaining stand-up comedy to somebody and you go, well, I did have actually. Oh, I do talk about them. I had a date like that during the pandemic when people started doing those park dates, and we went on a park date. We really did sit on opposite ends of a park bench, and it was kind of nice because really we've been so isolated. Like there was no chemistry between me and this guy, but we had really interesting conversations. But I really left being like, yeah, if I had a podcast, I'd have this guy on like as a guest. We both interviewed each other, but our lives, like there wasn't chemistry and then our lives were so different, but he was a very interesting person. And I think he'd never met a comedian, like just hearing from my side.
You look very pretty today. Yeah, I saw you look very pretty today. Okay.
Listen, we were 8 feet apart, so we unmasked. Right. We unmasked. We were outside, but no. Initially,
that is a thing. That is a thing that happens with comedians. Yeah. Whereas if you're dating a dentist, you know, the most he can do is go like, "I could fix your molars," but then it stops there. You have an endless supply on your end, and they know that. So it's a little tricky.
And it's hard because I can't really fault people for it because.
Yes, you can. Feel free to fault Meghan. Feel free. 2023, fault people. It's all right. They know. They know. Here's the thing. Here's the trick. They know, and they're pretending they don't. So go ahead and fault. It's fine.
Okay.
They just get nervous. Guys, especially women, might like this, but guys would be like, "Man, you really observe things, don't you? Like, can you just observe like a normal fucking person? Like, you're really." You know what's going on in the room and with me, and you did see what shoes I have on. Oh my goodness.
Right. I think it's something that can definitely make people, and I get it, like self-conscious up top, like even though she's being really nice to me and this and that, but is she writing all this down? Am I going to see this on the internet? Is this going to be a story she shares when she gets home or something like that?
Yeah, so like, tell a good one. You know, wake up. We're on a date. Right. Hey, you have a choice. There's going to be a date or a podcast. Make a decision. I'm ordering wine because I'm on wine now. That's another story I could tell you in a second. Hold on.
Yeah. And it's one of those things that I think when people sort of get that they're with a comic, they know they're going to sort of be part of the act. And actually, you hope you would be. Like if you were actually in a relationship for a long time with a comic and you never came up, it's like, okay, that's a little your day-to-day that person isn't doing anything funny or interesting that can somehow even be exaggerated for a story.
Actually, I do think like if you have not made your way into your comedian partner's anything, podcast routine, yes, they are hiding you because even if you didn't do anything, they'd be like, I got no jokes about my partner. Should I marry them? Like that kind of thing. There is no, I'm not saying, there is no, I'm saying, I do or don't have a partner. You will know, or I'm getting rid of old jokes so I could start making new jokes about now I'm in a relationship. So
Yeah. And my family's like, when they are at a show, my dream is to date a girl who's funny enough to make me nervous. Oh, I don't even know what that means.
You know what? You know what I just discovered? That Meghan will read anything we put in front.
Right.
Okay, here we go, Meghan. Go ahead.
You seem lovely, but if you had to say, I get you don't trust. You're like this again. People don't trust. I'm smiling too much. They don't trust me. They're like, what's really going on?
Have you ever had a guy say something to you and then it's like, you're not going to use that, are you? And you're like, no. And then they're offended. Like, you're not going to use that?
There's no way to win. Say that. I've had plenty of people say that even that you're not just in real life. That kind.
They're offended if you use them. They're offended if you don't.
Yeah. My family is insulted if they don't end up in the act. Like that's why they were such a huge part of the album. But it was also so great. Like they ended up sitting around the stage. Like they surrounded.
Oh, I heard them.
Yeah, and it worked out so well that they became so much a part of the album.
That's funny.
But I think it was great that people were able to see like. I'm sort of talking about them, but mostly also these things are like mostly true or like kind of true. And they're laughing so hard at themselves. I think it made everybody else like comfortable in the room too. Whereas my family was in the front and was like miserable. Like,
sure.
Of course. And that's what I believe, that you can find a partner who finds you funny because if your whole family that you're joking about finds it funny, then that's the sense of humor that you and your family have. So you're probably looking for that in someone.
Right. And also someone to know that I'm not on all the time. I'm also like, I'm someone who also needs my alone time. I can get very down, get set. I need space. I'm not someone who's like every day, like, hello, good morning. Like, no, I'm like, this morning, I'm getting my coffee. I'm going to work out. I'll see you later. Like, I'm
It's just a weird thing to bring up on a first date. Like, hey, just so you know, I can get sad. I can get.
Yeah. Right. I know. I find it like whenever somebody sort of says, "You're so fun," I'm like, this is it. It's not, that's probably
Right.
it. It's not gonna. And I'm like, why is that seen as such a negative? Yeah, I am so fun. Or do you not, am I making you question your own? Am I making you not feel fun? I like, let's have fun. We're on a date. Like, I want someone I
Right.
can have fun with.
On the album, Megan mentions how she turned 40, she's online
Mhm.
dating, and then she sees people she matches with, and she's like, "This is where I'm at." Like I was, I don't know, I was hoping for teeth. This is it's almost, not that she says this, but it's almost like going to a movie audition. And
Yeah.
and they're like, looking for somebody, haggard, a little dopey. And you're like, all right, I'll come in all fucked up. And then everybody looks just like you. And you're like,
Right.
I thought I was doing something special. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I've done stand-in work on a couple shows, and I've always wondered if the person I've stood in for is like, this is my stand-in. This is who you think.
Yeah,
I'm
like in the
okay. Are
back,
you pleased? Yeah.
in the back,
Yeah.
they're just going, "Hey, she's just your height. You are gorgeous.
Yeah. It's just the hair. It's
You
just
look
the
like a
height.
movie star. I don't know who
That's
this
it.
bitch is."
Yeah. We don't know. Yeah. I actually had, so I have done a bunch of some stand-in stuff. I haven't done it in a while because stand-in stuff is hard because they do
What stuff?
prefer
Sorry.
someone
What
like
stuff?
stand-in. So basically, like when there's an actor on set, they bring in a stand-in, usually
Yeah.
same height, around same height, weight, hair color.
Right.
So that sort of looks enough like them for lighting purposes. So they do all the lighting, all the cameras around us. We step out, the actor comes
Yeah.
in.
You don't want to
cameras go on.
exhaust the actor. Yeah.
Right. So they're not like doing all that around them because sometimes that can take a while. So you have to be very like there paying attention and then know how to step away, make sure you're still available, like not get in the way, but be there. So I was doing this on The Good Wife for a little while, and I was standing in, and this one was just like I think it was just like a random actress that was on that day. So then they realized there's also this like execution scene and they need more people in it. So they had the background actors, and then they go, okay, can you just go in like the corner? We just need to know there's more people in the room. Well, it'll be like the corner view, whatever. So I have this in my head. I just am put in this scene. They stop the shoot. They stop the whole shoot, and they go, "Girl with the blonde hair in the corner. This is an execution. Could you stop smiling?" And I was like, meanwhile, I didn't even realize. I think my resting face was kind of like, I'm in a scene on a TV show. I didn't know I was even smiling. And they told me like I basically wasn't in the shot, and I wasn't hired as the background actor. I didn't get the obviously I would say an execution scene. I shouldn't have been excited, but I didn't even know that there was like a mild.
Holy.
Did you try to tell him like, not everybody's going to be on this
I
guy's side? He's being executed for a reason.
Oh, sorry. But I mean, they stopped it. Like, stopped the thing, girl. And then I was like, one of your family members is being executed. And I was like, oh sorry.
Oh, okay. It's one of your family members. Okay.
Whoops.
Do you get, when you mention, dating struggles, that kind of thing in your stand-up, do you get hit on after the show?
I used to never get hit on at all. It used to be like, even guys that from stage, I'd feel like we had like a fun banter, and it wouldn't even be like a hitting. I would just feel like, we had like a chemistry thing.
We call that heckling, like Megan, but all right.
Listen, not all heckling. Some heckling is like a back and forth, And listen, so you kind of go, this is chemistry, like I'm telling jokes, and this person's like, I'm serving something up, and they're throwing back. This could, okay. Like after the show, they'll at least say, great job, or you were funny, or maybe follow me on social media. Like, and they used to walk, I'm like, put like no eye contact, like head down, out of the room. And this, I feel like, was very common with a lot of female comics. It would happen to me constantly. And I just feel like in the past couple of years, there's been a little bit of a change in that. And now I do have a lot more people saying like, and part of it's also, I think I just got better at comedy. I think there's that. Maybe I got better looking, combo of things.
All right.
And then people, and I think the younger generation, especially younger guys, they're much more comfortable, I think, with this like position of like a woman in power kind of thing. So they're very much more like, you were great, or you were there, like they'll still walk past me and be like, can I get your number? But like keep walking, but they're trying to get out.
Do you take advantage? Do you ever say, hey, I'm on the road, I got a hotel, fuck it?
No, especially on the road. No. I feel like for me, that's I would be my anxiety. I'd be so worked up. I invited this stranger to a hotel.
Okay.
No, but it's one of those where you at least just hand out some cards and you hope, just like give a follow back or, tell your friends, that kind of thing. So I don't know if it's good. I think it's a good sign comedically when there are more men sort of popping up on my DMs and following, because they are still following comedically. And I'm like, I think that is something. There's something to that. I'm hoping that.
Are you good with, because you do put, and I love it, but you put a lot up on your Instagram, the Meghan Hanley. Do you get everybody gets negative comments. Do you handle it well?
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like for the most part, Instagram is usually pretty positive, which I really do enjoy about that. Facebook, I get the worst comments, but they usually lead to the videos. The 2 videos I've had that have gone kind of viral on Facebook, it's been because there were incredibly negative comments and incredibly negative comments about women, and then that causes more comments. Every comment helps out the algorithm. So it's like when it's really negative and then ends up people coming to your defense, then I'd respond here and there, but it was also like, I'm not going down this rabbit hole.
It's nice. It's a lot easier when you don't believe the good stuff to not believe the bad stuff.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah. I did have somebody today when I had posted like that the album was #1, and it's mostly just congratulations or this is great. And somebody did post something along the lines under it, and it was just, there's no need for it. It was just so negative, and it was like, you have less than 5,000 followers. It's impossible. I guess anything can be bought, this and that. And I just replied back and said, untrue. Today, I did outsell these other artists, which is true. And it's today. I'm not going to outsell you, Weird Al, like for the year or the month, but today I did. And I said, this is, a positive place for fans. If you're not a fan, then kindly leave. Like,
how exciting is that, by the way? Congratulations, first of all. Secondly, Weird Al knows you now. Isn't that's fun?
It is pretty cool if like if there were daily briefings and like my name was somehow.
They know. Jim Gaffigan knows. Yeah.
Jim was always so nice. He's great. But then this guy replied and he said another thing, and it was so negative, and it's just about like, well, then you should
you didn't change, but your response was so lovely and measured.
It was lovely. And then he was horrible back, and that's when I was like,
oh, he was himself again. Oh, that's confusing. Yeah. I thought you solved it all. I thought it was done. Yeah.
Because that often does happen a lot, is that when I do reply to a negative comment, somebody goes, oh, like either nothing, or I've even had people, if it's been like, especially if it's something that has something to do with whatever, but about my looks or something, someone goes, oh, I didn't know you'd see this. Or people sometimes I think don't think we're real, or we're really the ones posting it, kind of thing. And when they see like the human aspect.
Who is this for? My counselor?
Yeah.
Just amongst the people you're talking about how fat I am? What?
I feel bad.
Discuss this?
Yeah, it's such a shame Meghan's into guys. You mentioned on the album that you're a Yankees fan. I know you did something with the NFL. What was that? What was with the NFL?
Oh, I did a virtual show for the NFL during the pandemic, which was really cool. It was just like their marketing team had found me, and it was a really cool event. And me and Andy Hendrickson, Andy, we were the 2 comics that were booked on it. And so we weren't at the events and things weren't happening live, but it was really cool that it was kind of this link was.
And it's for the company?
It was for the NFL. I'm not sure exactly like what division of it, but it was like, through the NFL. And it was kind of cool because, like Erin Andrews, who I'm like a huge fan of, she was also involved in the event, but like, of course we never, saw each other or anything like that, but it was just cool. Like when I saw all the info for the event, I was like, there's just something about like, we're in the same universe. I was like,
Are guys assholes to talk to about sports? And I ask, cause this is what I observe. That maybe at a party and a guy says something about a football team, and then the woman says something, it's like, you don't really know Bradshaw, forget it. Or at a bar, and I'll see a woman a woman will say, hey, why did they bring the ball back there? And it's some new rule where I follow and I don't know, but the guy won't admit it. He's like, because you'll see. It's like, are guys assholes when it comes to sports? Do you see that or not?
I feel like it's something, it depends who I'm talking to. If it's somebody else that knows I'm a sports fan, that we've already have a, relationship or a conversation where they know I can be part of it. If I'm at a bar with people and we're watching the game, we're all really watching the game, I feel like that's fine. But I think when people find out, they go, oh my gosh, you're a sports fan. Guys must love that. I'm like, well, no, not really. Because nobody people want to be like, I'm the fan. Nobody wants like a statistics thrown in their face, you know? And they're like, this guy's this and that. And I'm like, actually, he's only rushing for this many yards, which I'm actually not good at stats. Like, but I do know enough players that, you know, I can throw some things in there with. I think that kind of goes along the lines too of like, I'm looking for a sportsman who's like cool with like a chick that likes sports, that we can like, could be both be on a fantasy team together and like we can watch a game together and enjoy it.
At this point, we've all sort of grown into what things mean to us. And sometimes for guys, you know, 40 plus, sports means I am hanging out facing forward with some people. You know, sports means I take a break from this other life that I have to curse when you're not used to me cursing. Like that's, and I'm saying 40 and up. I might even mean, you know, 50 and up. I'm not sure, but this, oh, it must be great. I don't know. Is it great that like my spa is usually quiet and, you know, not having to do with any scheduling, but if my partner's now into it, now it's like, oh, let's meet at the lockers here and then we can have lunch together. And maybe it's already established as something different to people, and that's actually more of an adjustment than oh great, we get to spend every moment together. And I'm not saying it's good or bad, I'm just saying like there is an adjustment, and it's not just oh, you have so much in common.
Right. No, that's absolutely true. And I think there's something about people definitely needing to have their own thing and their own space and this thing that they have to themselves that they can just go do. And I feel like that's absolutely usually a big release, like especially for guys. It's just, I feel like a lot of, you know, just how they kind of have grown up, and it's just their time with the guys, which I totally also do get, which is, you know, fine.
Yeah, I also think it's weird that you said, if people know I know sports, you're basically saying if people know how much I know about sports, then they're respectful and I can have a conversation. If I'm new, then they have to establish that I know what I'm talking about in order to respect any response that I have to the game. So that's basically what you're saying. And then keep going. So do guys enjoy that? Yeah, we all enjoy it. It's all just I have to take a test before I talk to people. But yes, it's very enjoyable after I pass. Yes.
Right. No, I think there is definitely that of it's like it does depend. Like it's either people are either, oh, she knows what she's talking about, this is cool, or it's like, oh no, I don't actually know that much. I don't want this person around.
What do you do on a sorry, I was gonna ask, what do you do on a date when already you can tell there's this guy's an ass, or there's no connection and the salad didn't even come yet? Do you play it well, or you're like, I guess we gotta sit through this bullshit?
I think see, that's why I feel like I have to get back into dating. I haven't done
Never order a salad.
So,
Never. Appetizers, no appetizers, no dessert. Coffee and a cess.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I've gotten into situations in the past where, especially with online dating, where when I met up with the person, almost immediately went, oh no, it's not. It's online's tough. Online, just based on a few pictures and some conversation, you're kind of creating who you think this person is, and sometimes you see them face to face and realize, oh, I don't. And but I've never actually gone like, I'm out of here. You know, I've sat and been like, there's some people that I've gone on dates with, and I've been like, I'm rooting for this person. Like, we're not gonna be for each other, but this isn't a bad guy. But we're not rooted, you know. And with this one guy in particular, as we're like meeting out, I'm like, and this is something I hopefully now going forward will stop doing. But
I feel like you're going to give him pointers. Like, this is not for me, but let me explain how it would be for someone else.
No, like I get so like this guilt of like, oh no, this person's not right for me, but I took up their time. Instead of just having a drink and being like, you know what, I don't see this working, but like wish you well. I've done the thing where, please let me let me pay for this, because I'm already like, it's not going to work, so I'll pay for your drink. I overcompensate. That's not necessary. And there was one guy, we went out and we were having a drink. And after that one drink, because he was trying to get us in reservations for a place he always goes to. And then we went there and they were like, basically like, come back in like a half hour. We'll hook you up and everything. So now we have like a half hour to go. So we got to drink somewhere else. And because we had these other plans, I felt like guilty not going on the second part of the date. But I knew from like the first drink, again, I was like, this just isn't, I don't think this is going to be a thing. I
pretend friends died. I pretend I have a phone call and I'm like, I have to go to the funeral. They're like, already? I'm like, I don't know how these work.
Yeah, and I really like going forward, and even and again, I was still kind of newer to the online dating, and I don't want people to feel bad, but I like overcompensated by being like, let me get the bill now, let me stay and hang out. So then we went to the other place, and they were like, you could tell they were so excited that like he had a date, and they're bringing us all this food, and they bring a pitcher of sangria, and I'm like, this is like are you a pitcher? Like,
it's a horror movie and they're trying to get you together.
I can't. And now I'm like, and now also they know him. I don't want to embarrass it. I don't want to walk out. So like, we ended up having like some more during the food, and like I don't even. We were talking about random shows on the USA Network. Like
I
we could
picture
tell,
they
like
pull
we
your
hugged
chair.
Goodbye. Like
they
it was
pull
like
your
we
chair
both,
out. They pull your chair out. You sit down. They push it in, but way too like you're trapped.
Yeah.
They put your hands together.
And I was kind of like, oh, lesson learned. Also in the future, yeah, when you could pick a place, or maybe you don't pick a place that's so close to either, like it doesn't have to be, because that was immediate pressure. And again, he wasn't doing anything wrong. I just didn't really feel much of a connection, and then,
That's funny. I think he was doing stuff wrong, but okay.
No, I think he was. And I think he was, maybe not even intentionally. I don't know. But
well, I say ask Megan out. Worst case, free drinks. Right? Why not?
No, Keith, I have to stop doing this. I have to go. Let's split the bill at best. I can't.
She's got #1 album money. All right.
maybe 3 to 4 months from now. We don't know.
I was on a date. I wasn't good when I was dating with ending it early, like I should have.
Okay.
I felt like we went out. It's the right thing to do. But I mean, when the date starts and like, you know what I think about gun control? It's really about mental health, and the AR doesn't stand for assault rifle. So if you don't even know that, I'm like, oh,
you're like, oh, this is where we're starting.
Yeah, you're not that pretty. You can just say anything.
Oh, Keith, look at that. But what if she was? Keith,
look at a mirror, and the stupid shit you could say. The date starts like the government isn't taking my stove, and I'm like, we have a whole lunch to go through.
But again, Keith, are you going on a lot of lunches? We've heard salads referenced.
I learned to go from dinner to lunches. I started doing snacks. Yeah.
Oh, snacks. Okay.
Do you know, Kenda, about this stove thing? That it's now a political issue. Gas stoves is a political issue.
Oh.
Saying that the woke people, oh, what an asshole, you're awake. They want to take out your gas stove because they think it's bad for you. And the unwoke are saying the woke are just pussies and can't handle being tough. They're saying in a December 2022 study that gas stove usage is associated with an increased risk of asthma among children. 13% of current childhood asthma in the U.S. is attributed to gas stoves. Now, people are so fucking stupid that they think all of a sudden you won't have a stove because the government's going to come in and take your stuff. No, it means they're going to work on new stove technology. That's all that means. So you might see online people complaining about their stove going. I think you should take advantage of these idiots and go door to door. Find like a red area, go door to door, and be like, "Hey, government wise, we got to take your stove. To have a dolly, have like a light dolly, and be like, we're here to get your stuff." It's like I need a stove. It's like, no, the law, and then somehow be like, I'll tell you what, give me $60. I mark down I took your stove, but you can't tell nobody. I say do it.
And for the next marathon, we'll be bailing Keith out of jail.
This is a solid hustle.
Thank you.
This is a solid. I believe in this hustle.
I don't mind taking advantage of these assholes.
Now you can tell that this is not Keith's usual hustle because he's charging $60. LOL. Okay.
What's
going door to door? Keith is used to like apartment buildings where door to door means like, oh, here's a door, here's another door. Door to door in these other places, Keith, means you have to maybe drive. So how about we go $500? We negotiate to $350. We move on with our lives. We try 1,000 sometimes. You
look at their house, you figure out what they got. You look around, you go like, $250, $15 in that Twix bar.
I don't know. Right. I think this is a dangerous hustle to do. Also,
of course
what if people give you the stove? What are you going to do?
What if drunk people want to fight? What if drunk people want to fight you while you're doing stand up? It's a dangerous world, Megan. You know,
You know what that is?
Seems
That
like,
is
seems like, you know what it seems like? A hot stove issue. Oh,
is that a saying?
Is that? I don't
I
know.
never heard that. But I believe
Isn't hot stove like a heated argument? Isn't that
you
an
should do.
expression?
You should do an album of puns, but you make up all the puns. You make up all the sayings.
This is what I found out when I
Hot stove.
When I hit 40, I started using puns like all the time. But the thing is, right now, if you're like use a pun, nothing comes to my mind. But it's like when I get on a roll, I'm like, who am I? When did this happen? Like, when did dad jokes become my thing? And I don't care. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I just Googled. I don't see anything under hot stove. I
Hot
do
stove?
see. Yeah, I had
I
never
think
heard
maybe
it.
it was a sports show, the Hot Stove Report. Am I making this up?
Yes.
I don't think any of this happened.
It sounds like this is the name of your new podcast.
What do you
Come
mean?
listen to Hot Stove Live.
I don't pay
The
full
Hot
price
Stove
for Google,
Report.
so
Woo.
maybe I
Don't
don't
touch
have.
it.
Oh,
Don't touch
here it is. Urban Dictionary. Hot stove.
Okay.
As in that dumb bitch Mary. I fucked her hard on a hot stove. Dumb bitch. Hot stove. That's Urban Dictionary though. So I don't. I don't.
Okay.
Megan, I'm shaking my head because Keith didn't really actually read that. He made it up.
It's there somewhere. So the other
You
day we
committed
had.
to that, Keith. You did commit to it.
Thank you very much. It's a skill. It's a skill. It's like your puns. It's what I do.
Yeah.
So we had just the other day, of course, Martin Luther King Day. I didn't know this. I just came across 10 states, only in the American South, celebrate Martin Luther King Day because every state does. But these 10 states observe at least one Confederate holiday during the rest of the year. Alabama and Mississippi celebrate Martin Luther King and Robert E. Lee Day, the Southern general and slaveholder, on the same day.
Ooh.
On the same day. So you go to a barbecue there in Alabama or Mississippi and you ask other people like, what are you celebrating?
Mm-hmm.
You know, or like you take a hamburger bite and you're like, Robert E. Lee.
I feel like I had heard years ago that in Montgomery, Alabama, it's Martin Luther King Jr. Day / Jefferson Davis Day.
Wow.
And I could be wrong. I remember hearing that years ago and going, that can't be right. And you're like, this is insane. How
about Yom Kippur / Hitler Day? Can we listen to the other side? Can we listen to the other side?
Dear Keith and Kemna, I would like my episode.
right. Arkansas, Georgia, Florida, Kentucky, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, all have at least one day commemorating the Confederacy on other days of the year. Mississippi and Alabama each celebrate a total of 3 Confederate birthdays every year. Robert E. Lee, Jefferson Davis. These are Confederate Memorial Day in general, and they're going to stay because they're all paid holidays for state employees. So nobody's going to want to fight that.
And also, are they not American? Do you want to celebrate one American or multiple Americans? Huh? Now I ask you, the Holocaust in Germany. Do we celebrate multiple All right, I'm done. I'm done with this.
Last February in Alabama. Last February in Alabama, a bipartisan hot stove. No pun. Now that's oh boy.
Oh, I just see what happened there. Oh boy.
Oh my God.
Boy is right. Okay.
Last February in Alabama, a bipartisan group of state senators introduced legislation to split up Robert E. Lee Day and MLK Day, but the bill is, quote, indefinitely postponed. Oh my goodness.
You can indefinitely postpone a bill.
Yeah.
You just it's your way of saying I'm not going to do it. In 2000, when South Carolina became one of the last states to honor MLK with the state holiday, the legislature also voted to create, quote, Confederate Memorial Day. Tennessee has a special observance of Nathan Bedford Forrest, another Confederate general, and the first Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan.
Oh my God.
Georgia state law requires the governor to pronounce at least one day dedicated in honoring the Confederacy, no matter who the governor is. Defenders of Confederate holidays and monuments say removing them would erase history. Then erase it. Yay, there wasn't slavery. Like, we're really going to be confused if there wasn't a Robert E. Lee statue.
Also, it's not erasing. First of all,
of course,
they seceded. They said, I don't want to be part of this country. We're forming our own thing. And then they failed. So guess what? That country doesn't exist. That failed country doesn't exist. Take down your statues. Say these are not heroes. Like, you lost. It's the reglorification afterwards to try to say, hey, but these were good people. Stop it. Just stop.
Man, we
So,
must look
it's
so
done.
stupid.
We look so stupid.
Right?
So stupid. We're just
Right?
sitting here arguing with each other about stupid fucking shit. How come we have anxiety? Because we keep going in the past and going, let's make a statue of men. As if what the fuck are you gonna find out? More shit about them. It's not gonna be good. Let's just keep moving.
You ever
Stop
see somebody
it.
walk past the statue and go, just as they're walking, they're like, nice reminder, Robert E. Lee.
Listen, sometimes I read statues.
Sure, because they do the right, and there's no information. It's 2 sentences, real
You go,
big
who
and
is
bold.
this? Who's this guy? Oh, right. It is one of those things, who's it's so cheesy, but when you notice different things, like when Hamilton came out and it was available on Disney Plus, and then I realized,
Right.
oh my gosh, Lafayette is everywhere in Brooklyn. Like I'd see a statue and be like, Lafayette. And I was like, this has been here and I'd never even noticed it. It's right here in Park Slope. Like put the song on. I was like,
Right.
all right.
Last week, Lisa Marie Presley passed away. Graceland will go to Lisa Marie Presley's 3 daughters. Let's see. Their ages 33 and twins are 14. Lisa Marie grew up in the home. Elvis, of course, died in the home when she was 9. Graceland was left to his only child, her. Lisa Marie was the sole owner of the property. Elvis purchased the home in 1957 for $100,000. In 2020 is worth $500 million.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And then
an
compare it to this.
Yeah.
That's an investment. Yeah. Now compare it to this story I'm reading now. Marie Osmond says she's not going to leave any money to her children because they got to learn to work for themselves. Marie Osmond,
What did you do?
kid singer, what did you do?
What?
The singer explained why she wouldn't give anything to her kids. Stephen, 39, Rachel, 31, Jessica, 35, Brandon, 26, other ages 24, 23, 18. Honestly,
why'd you have so many? What the hell?
Right.
How much are they even getting?
Right.
Divide that up amongst like your 20 children. Who gives a shit?
She says, honestly, why would you enable your children to not try to be something? I don't know anybody who becomes anything if they're just handed money. What was she handed? She's 63. To me, the greatest gift you can give your child is a passion to search out who they are inside and to work. I mean, I've done so many things, from designing dolls and much more. The whole spectrum. Designing dolls, much more.
How were you qualified to design dolls, and why didn't you give them a career when they turned 5, just like mommy gave you,
Right.
however that fucking happened?
Yeah.
I mean, if you gave them the opportunity and they said no thank you, then maybe. But and I get it. You want your kids to not be that snobby, bratty, but they're adults. If you didn't make that happen already, money's not gonna do it. It's
Right.
there. You know how hard. Oh, you don't know how hard life is. That's
Right.
why you're saying stupid shit.
I love
Also,
trying.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I feel like it is like you're saying, kind of like they're adults at this point. Like they've
fucked
had
up
a
if they
great life.
suck.
They've had a great life so far. And then it is up to her, whatever she wants to do with the money, fine. But it's also, they've also still had the benefits of all this upbringing. Like it's not the kind of thing like I'm cutting them off and they're not this. It's like, well, I'm sure they have some trust set
Just
up.
don't leave it to your
money
cat
of their
like
own.
an
You know,
asshole.
yeah. Listen, like Gloria Vanderbilt, like she didn't leave. She got rid of all of her money, but it's not like Anderson Cooper wasn't set up for a great life. You
Right.
know.
I love trying. I want to try everything. I'm a finisher. That's one of my rules with my kids. If you start it, you finish it. You don't ever have to do it again, but you got to finish.
Ew. Why? What if
And
I
here-
don't like it anymore?
Just finish it. Like, when's it done? What are we even talking about? A doll?
Right.
An inheritance breeds laziness and entitlement. I worked hard. She's a little bit country. I worked hard, and I'm going to spend it all and have fun with my husband. Osmond
sure.
remarried her ex-husband, Stephen Craig, in 2011 after the divorce was finalized in 1985. Because you finish things.
And let me ask you this. What did your husband do to earn that money that you're about to have so much fun with?
Ooh.
In
Right,
2020,
who's influencing you? It sounds like he might be in her ear.
No, I mean, I say absolutely spend your money. If you could spend the amount of money that you have before you die, that's fine. Your kids don't need anything if you did the right thing, right? Like if you made them good human beings, they could figure it out, but don't threaten them with your fun. No, only I have fun. I can't pass down fun to you. How will you know what fun really is?
I'm not leaving any money to my children. Congratulations, kids. Picture the kids, and then your friends. You're one of these kids, and your friends are like, "Oh, she's talking about not giving you money again." Like, how about she just doesn't give me money? What is all this extra? I think you should have to pay me every time you say you're not giving me money. Why am I part of this?
Right.
Yeah,
I'm not your friend. I'm your mother. Okay.
Right.
What is it? Christmas again? Relax. I got a card last year. I don't need these words anymore. Thank you.
I think you do a great disservice to your children to just hand them a fortune, because you take away the one most important gift you can give your children, and that's the ability to work. Yeah. Let them be proud of what they make. Whip them and make them sing and stuff. And I'm going to give mine to charity. All right.
Your kids are going to become charity.
Charity and desire.
This is how kids become charity. Their parents are like, you need to work hard. I don't care what you're struggling with.
Right.
There's that you don't even want to give them the change from your purse. Like, no, they have to suffer. Suffering is life. Okay. When did you not have money as a human? If you could answer that and say what you struggled with,
right?
What you had to memorize as a child, why didn't you make them memorize as a child? Choreography or whatever it was.
I also like the idea that it sounds like she just gives this speech every year, and they're like, "We get it, Ma."
Yeah, you're not giving us.
We know. I bought my own home. All right.
I'm on The View tomorrow. Oh, fuck.
She's gonna bring this up.
She loves it.
She's Mom does her speech every year, right after the holidays.
Here's what you want to do. By the way,
Mom, how much money did you get paid for that interview?
Yeah.
So they can ask you again, and you could be all, what kind? You don't even call us to tell us this. Now we're just reading in the news. You made another however much amount of money. They took your picture, and we get to know again that we don't get the money. Thank you.
She gets paid every time she says she's not giving money.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This is the album. You know it. It's called This Happy. All right. It's from the great Meghan Hanley. Download it today. Let's show Weird Al what's up. Okay? It's been a while since his shit came out. Come on, people. Do you mind if I add a track to this show? I love this album so much.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
I'm going to add I'll put on the Cialis track. I enjoy that very much.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
For daily use. And the wife's like, for fucking daily? Who said anything about daily? The fuck? The website is Megan.
Sorry.
No, I'll just say the website is MeghanHanley.com. Social media, like I said, is the Meghan Hanley. Her phone number, if you're interested, 917. Oh, okay. And let me mention this as well. Thank you all for sharing the show. It means a lot, whether it's on social media, people at work, texting friends, wearing Keith and the Girl gear. You can find, of course, T-shirts, hoodies, mugs, even leggings. All right. Spreading leggings. Okay. KeithAndTheGirl.com/gear, GEAR. Right. It's real hot stove stuff. Megan, thank you so much for your time. You're fantastic. I'll mention this. Friday, January 27th, you'll be at Drome, DROM, and on the Lower East Side in New York City. Correct?
Yeah, stick a pole in it. It's have you guys gone before? It's such a great show.
Yeah, I did an album there once. It's a great place. Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. In pole dancing, and it's their 10-year anniversary show, and I love that show. I love that they just came up with such a cool concept, and that it's worked. Like, I did the show when it was like a trial kind of show at this bar on like 4th Avenue in Brooklyn. They'd bring in like the pole, secure it, and now it's like it's such a fun, supportive show. And what I love about doing the show, besides that it's like great audience, is that I can do that show and dress as hot as I want, and it's fine, because there's gonna be people pole dancing looking way hotter, so the audience is so supporting, where sometimes I get self-conscious if I dress a little too I get like, is this gonna be a thing, is this okay? Where I'm like, no, on that show you can just celebrate your body.
You can wear as many little mirrors as you want. Yeah, that's awesome. Friday, February the 3rd to the 11th, the Laugh Factory in Dubai. This now you've done. Now we mentioned you performed for Troop, so going overseas, this kind of thing isn't new for you. Dubai, do you look at? Do you just trust whatever guide is? I know it's a billionaire spot, but do you trust whether a guide is with you? Because it makes me nervous. Like you find a guy you like, you kiss him on the beach, you're dead. Like, does any of this stuff make you nervous or no?
Oh yeah. This has been in the works for a while. I'm actually going with Joe Larson. I don't know if you know Joe, great comic. He did this gig, I think in 2021, and then they loved him, wanted to have him back. And then he was like, I'd love to come back with my friend Megan. So we are going together do this. He's already done it. So he like knows, the whole, like he's given me the rundown of it. I've had Zooms with the woman that books it over there. It's Laugh Factory. It's the Laugh Factory in Dubai. And
I assume you're not wearing the same outfit that you're going to wear for Shtickable.
Probably not. Although she keeps reassuring me that I really can wear whatever I want over there. And Joe even said he said it's so safe. It's amazing. So like we're doing a Zoom again next week because I go, this woman that booked it, I said, listen, Gail, I just want to do another Zoom because I'm going to ask you a ton of random questions that you might get sick of.
Do me a favor and show side boob and see if she reacts when you first come on. Okay?
Don't worry, I'll have no side boob. There won't be any side boob either.
Kyle went over. She had one of these countries. She had to have a scarf over her. But I'm like, but I can see your forehead and part of your hair, and it actually looks sexy. I'm like, wear a burlap sack. You're not coming back alive.
I'm excited to do it. And I'm like, I am wondering, like, should I be, wearing, something else? And I will find out. Whatever.
Okay. I hope you come back with all fingers and toes. Have a wonderful time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very nice meeting you again. Thank you, Megan.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. This is awesome.
That's it.
All right. Hold on just 1 second. We're still live. Thank you so much. That was fun.
Thank you.
Any questions? No pressure.
Questions? I don't think so.
Okay. Let's see. So Keith, if you want to shut off the live, thank you guys.
Real hot stove
guest. That's really funny. Here's this live show got me through digging up giant arrow weeds on the back part of my property. Thank you, Chemda and Keith, and shout out to Xerxes. Thank you guys so much. Hot soup. All right.
Bye.